Okay. So I guess we're good to
Hi,
go. Hello, hello. How are you?
I'm doing quite well today. How about you?
I'm good, good.
Can I just say you
Okay,
look
so
super fab?
likewise, likewise. I, I,
Oh, okay.
I, I like the gear under the shirt, giving us
Oh, well, thank you.
a little action there. So okay. So how are you today?
I'm good. Just, you know, doing a little bit of last minute stuff, getting ready for the season, the dreaded
Oh yeah.
season. Yeah, but that's a whole other topic.
Oh yeah. I know. Actually, we'll probably discuss that on our next podcast.
You know what?
So
That would probably be a good topic. I'm sure there's lots of people
yeah,
who feel the same.
yeah. So I'm super excited about what we're going to talk about today. So how about we jump right in and start? So everybody who's new, welcome to Real Talk Lounge. Here we have lovely Roxy Silfree. Hi Roxy, welcome back, and Eva from Evaverse. So today we're going to be talking about a few of the things we've been seeing in the media regarding body standards and beauty standards, and there's a lot of chatter going on, especially something in regard to Sam Smith. I was reading something. Did you see the thing about the sequin jumpsuit?
I actually saw the Jingle Bell Rock concert or whatever it's called. I saw it.
Oh, I didn't watch the
Um,
concert. Oh, how was that?
sorry.
How was that? I didn't watch it.
I watched his portion of it because I did hear the chatter about the jumpsuit and I wanted to see what the hype was
Okay.
about. And you know what? When you get um screenshots or screen grabs in unflattering positions, it looks way worse than it actually is. And when I saw Sam dancing around, they were full of confidence. They were definitely feeling themselves. They were having fun with it. They were doing all that.
Right.
They were
Oh, but
feeling
that's
like so,
what I read too. That he was. Well, didn't he tweet that out too? So I think Valentino or whatever, or not saying that he's feeling himself or something like that. That I think that was part of it, is that he actually felt confident in what he was wearing.
yes. Yes, they Sam did feel super confident. You could just tell the way that they were strutting around on stage, just like peacock walking. They were definitely feeling that outfit. However, I will say this. Um, I know how it is sometimes when you put something on and you're feeling all good. It might not be the most flattering, but you feel good and you feel comfortable in it. So it just makes you feel that much better, right? But the
Right.
same opinion might not
Yeah.
be felt by somebody else. If I was to break it down and if I was to criticize it, I can see where the hate is coming from. Um, so one of my observations was that it made Sam's legs look a little bit shorter, just because of
Okay.
where like it kind of cut off just a touch above the ankle, and then there was like these
Right.
black heels, and it just kind of shrunk the leg a little bit, right?
Hmm.
The pants part of it was fine. There's no issue with the pants part aside from that. I mean, if we're really gonna
Yeah.
nitpick it. But the top part, oh, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to say it was hideous. The top part was just
Yeah.
it wasn't cut well is the problem, right?
Well, I
And
think
maybe
that's
if it
where
had,
what my
and one more thing, maybe if it had like a wider belt, because I felt like the belt was a little bit too thin for that outfit also. Um,
yeah.
but the top was the
So,
straps were
so
too
that was
thin.
just a matter of the proportions in your eyes.
Sorry.
It was a matter of proportions.
Um, Proportion, I don't know necessarily. I just it's yeah, I would say that. I would say proportion maybe. Like the straps were not quite spaghetti straps, but they were relatively thin. It was pretty
Hmm.
low cut, right? I mean, it was like going down like this, and it was showing side boob, for lack of a better word, right?
Right.
Um, I think even if it had been a little bit higher up on the sides, you could have gotten away with that deep cut. It just
Yeah.
it the top wasn't flattering. I'm just gonna say it. Unfortunately, the top part was not
Well, I
flattering.
think most people
Sorry,
aren't you talking about the flattering thing? They're talking about it being homophobic and how, and also how who was it? Styles. What's his name?
Harry
Harry
Styles.
Styles, is it? Yeah,
Yes.
Harry Styles, like he was wearing something similar, and there was no backlash on him, and he kind of wears outlandish stuff. I'm on board with you because for me, it's not about homophobia. It's not about how he's dressing or whatever. I'm more looking at it from a perspective of styling. I'm not a stylist by any means, but if I were
Hmm.
to visually look at it, I just simply say it's not flattering. And not everybody can pull off everything, and just because they make it, don't mean you gotta wear it, right?
Right.
And
And
I
then
I hate
actually
to say it, but
one of the
Harry
other
Styles
issues with
pulls it off better than he did. Like he just does,
but
and
it's
the
not
fit
that
is better.
In Harry Styles' situation,
And
it was
I don't like it to begin with. I don't like it on Harry Styles either. But if you were to compare it,
right. But with Harry Styles, part of it is that it was a cut. It was the cut. It was just a better cut outfit. And one of the issues again with
yeah,
Sam's outfit was that the top was also like baggy and kind of hanging over the belted part a little bit. So it wasn't
yeah.
flattering. And with
And it was,
Harry's
yeah,
outfit,
exactly. It wasn't specific to him. Yeah. You know what? And I look at it like this: if you're gonna be in the public eye, you're gonna face the scrutiny. And you know what? If you're gonna, invest in a stylist and have them tell you, hey, honestly, how does one look? And look in the mirror, do a quick video to see how it translates on camera, right?
you know what?
Otherwise, what do you
maybe
expect?
the people maybe the people around Sam told him, "Oh yes, that outfit is looking really good on you," because you can tell like they went on and they were feeling it. They were confident. They were peacock walking across the stage. Like they were
Right, but
feeling it
there
for
is
sure.
something to be said for confidence, and sometimes when your confidence can overshadow something, and that shines through.
Mhm.
Where somebody who might not be looking the best, but they're rocking something that you could never imagine wearing, but because of their confidence shining through, they managed to pull it off. But in this
Mhm.
case, I don't think any amount of confidence could really pull this off. And unless he was doing a photo shoot where they were controlling the stills very carefully to make sure that every angle wasn't
Right.
flattering. But when
Right.
you're a video or when you're doing a concert and you're moving about, you're gonna get those unflattering angles, and especially with something already a sequin, shiny. Those are things that are
And
already like
poorly
hard
cut.
to pull off.
Poorly
Yeah,
cut.
exactly, absolutely. Um, so I mean, I think it's fair game to criticize or to critique rather, how he looked, and I personally did not like the look at all. And
No.
and I
I
get
I
it. I get where if you're doing it for the show, and you're gonna go a little glitzy and whatever. I'm not about all that shine and glitter and sequin stuff, but it can be done in the right way.
Right, and I think where the criticism is deviating from what's actually being like constructive criticism is that it goes down to, well, Sam's put on a little bit of weight, so if that's where it's coming from, is people are saying if Sam was skinnier, they would have been able to pull off that outfit, which I don't think that is the case. I think it was just a bad outfit, bad outfit. That's it, and
Well, I mean,
I
it's
don't.
hard to say. Yeah, I mean, if maybe if it was Harry Styles on him being slimmer, it may have been. But because you're saying the cut was bad, right?
Yeah, the
The
pants
problem
wasn't so
begins
much.
even with
I
the
mean, it was
garment
a baggy
itself.
pant to begin with, but it wasn't. There
Yeah.
was no. It was tapered to the bottom. That was another issue
Hmm.
too. Like this was the silhouette, and you don't on
Yeah.
a man, woman, anybody. I think if it was more of a straight, like it just yeah, no, it wasn't a good cut. That and it was like
Well, I
and
mean, and I'm gonna tell you, like, there's many styles of clothes that I absolutely adore on taller people, and I think they can pull it off. Like, but I
mhm,
put me in a pair of capri pants, and they look
yeah,
like lamb diggers. I mean, that's just what it is. And I see some really long-legged beauties out there rocking them, and they look great. You know,
mhm,
on me though,
mhm,
I'm sorry, it's not gonna happen. It's not working for me. You know,
yeah,
and I think that's what it comes down to is when you're in the public eye, I think you should invest in a stylist and have somebody a professional eye tell you what actually suits you and what doesn't, because you're gonna have, it's a part of the job. when you're a performer, right? And when you're an artist,
Mhm.
it's your image. So it should go hand in hand in how you present yourself and how you look. You know, because
Right.
there's
And
versions of that.
like,
Because like for
I
example, Madonna is another one where she could she wants to do something edgy. There's the right and the wrong way to do it, right?
yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, and I don't know that Sam doesn't actually have a stylist. I mean, I'm assuming at the level that Sam
Well,
is
if he
at
does, then I think we could agree they should be fired.
listen, everybody has good fashion choices and bad fashion choices. And like another one that I saw recently, and it was an old picture. Lizzo had gone to an award show and she was wearing this really voluminous purple outfit. Um,
Right,
that I would liken to garbage bags, right? And it's not because it was
right,
on Lizzo. It was
right.
because, like, no matter who wore it, it was just like not a good outfit, right? But again, Lizzo is
Mhm.
somebody that people come for all the time based on her size. And I mean, she does have some, in my opinion, um, poor fashion choices, but it's not about the size per se. But then again, some of her stuff that she wears
Yeah.
is see through. And I think that if somebody who was on a smaller frame was wearing something see through the with some of her outfits, like there was one where just the pasties, right, with a mesh covering her whole
Oh,
body.
sorry to interrupt you, but hold on. There is another example of exactly what you're talking about. I don't know if you remember, but there was this, or if you saw it or not. There was this thing a while back about Rihanna wearing. She had a photo shoot with something pretty sheer and sexy, and she was
Hmm.
being told that it's like way too like provocative and too like revealing or whatever. But then they had an image comparison of I guess a model wearing it, and it
Hmm.
looked completely different on her. And this is what I guess the example of how the curvy body can make something look, for lack of a better word, like inappropriate or too risque. Where on a straighter body, it's fine.
Hmm.
It doesn't translate the same way, right? So
Right.
I
And
mean,
even
in this,
something as simple as a top, right? If you
yeah,
are a bigger chesty gal, right? Um, a
yeah,
simple top with a simple little V-neck can quickly become, oh my God, there's too much cleavage, right? Whereas as somebody who
absolutely,
had a smaller chest, all of a sudden it's a classy blouse, you know?
yeah.
Um, the way clothes are, they design them with a certain body type in mind, but the reality is that all body types wear these clothes, right? So it's more
Mhm.
of a everybody trying to find in that sea what fits for them and what works for them and what they should gravitate to and what they should stay away from.
I mean, I think there's different schools of thought on it. There's some people who actually care about how clothes look on them, and they want to look their best and they want to put their best foot forward. And then
Hmm.
there's people who just want to wear what they like, and they don't care what people think, and they don't care if it looks good on them, or they think it looks good on them, or they didn't look in the mirror before leaving the house, whatever it is. But some people genuinely just wear things for the love of wearing it. I hate to say this, but there's a lot of things that are like, it's hard to make it look good on anybody. I'll give you an example. Like the new trend with the crops. Like, you'd be hard pressed. Like you'd have to be really rocking like some killer outfit to be rocking any kind of crops and making it look good. You know,
Or you know which other one I
and styled
love?
in a
Those
very
those
or
those
or or
thigh
Uggs,
high
for
clear
example.
boots.
Oh yeah,
Those
yeah,
are just phenomenal. First of all, your when your feet go inside of those, they just look like squished little, I don't know, squish piggies, little piggies. And
yeah,
like it, and I just when I see those, all I think about is just like moisture. I think of moisture. I
yeah.
think of condensation. I think of sweat. Like I don't
Well, you're
think
gonna have it. There's no way around it.
yeah, I don't see
You
how
know,
those can be comfortable at all.
they should have something to air it out, like a mesh, like a side seam or something. But if it's completely enclosed,
Yeah, no,
they
it's
should have vent holes in it. Yeah, vent holes. There we go.
well, here's the
What do
thing.
you
Can
think?
you name me a place where those boots would be comfortable and appropriate?
Year
Yeah.
1995 in the club. I don't know.
Even still, you'll
I'm a
sweat your
total
ass off.
yeah.
Even
I don't
yeah.
know. Well, actually, speaking of, I don't know. There was that picture years ago circulating. I think it was when Kim was pregnant, Kim Kardashian, and she was wearing those clear sandals, and they were cutting her off in all the wrong places, and she was swelling like a balloon, and there's all kinds of close-ups of her feet that
Do you
weren't
know
very
what?
flattering.
I don't remember that, but I do remember the hideous flower dress. And again, that is an example of a horrible fashion choice. And I'm sure people I will say, oh well, it's because she was bigger. If she was smaller, she would have been able to pull it off. No,
Yeah,
honey, no. There's no amount of anything that would help you pull off that hideous dress. And I think I need to put a disclaimer out here. I am not a fashion guru. My interest in fashion is actually pretty limited. Like I don't care so much. But I think what it goes down to is that just in general in society there's these expectation of women, right? When you go out somewhere, when you're conducting your daily life, you are supposed to present what you're supposed to be beautiful, you're supposed to be wearing heels and dresses and makeup to cook in the kitchen and clean the house, and like it's I think it's actually
I don't
quite
know if you're
unfair.
expected to do that necessarily.
Maybe not anymore,
I don't
but
know. If, I don't,
okay, so there was a picture of Kylie Jenner when she had popped out of her house. I don't know, at one point she wasn't wearing any makeup, she had her hair in a top bun, and like she was lambasted all over social media for this picture, and quite she looked like just a normal girl going out to, I think she ran over to her friend's house to get something. It was so bad
yeah.
that this girl had to redo almost a photo shoot with the paparazzi to re-get that picture right, to kind of cancel out the picture that they took of
Yeah,
her.
but I mean that's not a really good example in terms of every day because I mean people expect celebrities to they're at some point to aspire to. So you want to emulate, or you're dreaming, or you're not even, you don't have to be doing any of those things, but you have an expectation that they live that put together life. You know that they're always got everything taken care of. They got everything handled. You know the kids are in perfect condition. The nails are always done and everything's always just right, like Chloe's kitchen cabinets, or what is it, or pantry.
Yeah, that she
you
had
know
people do for her. She hired somebody to come in and do for her. But no, I mean, even down to, okay, now let's go to another Kardashian, Miss Courtney. There only because back in the day I used to watch it. I know she was about 102 pounds before she had her baby, right? At one point, after
Mhm.
she had one of her kids, her boyfriend at the time was trying to get her, probably for a storyline, to get her back down because I think she might have been 115 pounds. And he was just
Mhm.
fat shaming her, and telling her,
Mhm.
I feel like you should get back down to that size. That's your goal, right? You need to do that.
Right.
And it upset her. Now, recently, it might have even been yesterday, I saw a story where she's being praised because she revealed her jean size, right? And people are so impressed with her because she has a real body, right? Do you want to know what her jean size is that she's so brave for sharing with everybody? Take a guess.
A
If you had
size
to guess,
four.
what would be
A size
the
4.
definition? It is a four. What's the definition of bravery? If she was a size 20
Well,
and
that's what I
she
mean.
was,
I was gonna say, okay, well, obviously she's not gonna say zero because that would be realistic, and six and eight and 8 and 10 would be like in the getting to like the average territory, right?
yeah,
So then when you say four is, well, for her,
for her, it's, I
I
guess it's on the
I
bigger.
I, I don't think
Yeah.
I ever fit into a size 4.
I did
You know
probably
when
when I,
I might fit into size 4 when I'm terminally ill and I'm like 95 and my bones have shriveled to nothing.
I was gonna say maybe I
Then maybe.
to a size 4 when I was like 6 years old. Like I
Maybe.
but she's being praised online for being so brave. It's so nice to see real women's bodies. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Size 4, lady. Size 4. And as I
Well,
said,
I
if she
mean,
was,
at the end of the I mean, I was gonna say at the end of the day, though, I mean, what's being normalized too, in especially in North America, is for like the body positive movement,
Hmm.
and like the extra large bodies, so to speak. I mean, that's the far cry too from normal, right? Even though
Hmm.
they try to normalize it, I think that's just a symptom or a result of just the bad lifestyles people have, in the relationship with food, and it's not just their fault. It's just what the governments are subsidizing and what people are buying and what's easy and what's cheap. And you have food deserts all over the U.S. and
Hmm.
people living in poverty that they have not much of a choice. It's expensive to eat healthy.
Yes and no. I mean, I get where it's coming from. Like for instance, if you go to McDonald's, you could get hamburgers for like $1, right? So for $10 you could feed a family, you know, with your
Hmm.
with the hamburgers if that's what and it's quick, it's easy, you know for sure the kids are going to eat it. And there's not going to be much pushback on that. But if you try to buy, let's say I heard I had a cauliflower is $8 now, which is insanity. That's insanity. I mean, but let's go back to last year prices, and let's say that bananas are 50 cents a pound. You could get a head of lettuce for $2. You get a couple tomatoes for $1.
Yeah, but I was referring to this. There's some places that are like what you refer to as food deserts, where
Right.
you
No, but
live in these
I was going
communities
somewhere
where you
with
don't even have the
I
option.
I was going somewhere with that.
Okay, go ahead.
So what I was going to say is that you could get that healthy food, let's say, bag of rice for $10 and that will feed you for a while. But what ends up happening in that case is, first of all, there's prep involved in it, right? And you might not have the time to do that prep. And then the other thing too is your kids might not eat it. So you've wasted that time, you've wasted that energy, you wasted that money. And, as I said, you go to McDonald's, for sure they're going to eat that. And that's
Yeah,
probably, I think,
again, I
a
was
good
referring
bit
to
of
the
it.
food deserts that where you don't even have the option to buy it because
Yeah.
they have isolated communities that you don't even have the option. You basically your option is fast food or going to the
Hmm.
corner store to buy processed food. You don't even have the option to buy the banana or to buy anything to prep the food.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I could see why in certain places obesity and things like that is
Hmm.
um
There is,
so
but you
rampant,
know
right?
what? One of
So
the things with the obesity situation, it doesn't seem to be. I mean, I would buy that argument if the obesity situation was isolated to those food desert areas where they might not have access to things. But I think
yeah,
the
no, it's definitely a rampant. It's a cultural thing, and like I said, I think it does come down to the government subsidizing certain crops, like corn, for example, is a big one,
Mhm.
and these companies putting it in everything. Like, why is there added sugar in everything? But
Yeah.
anyway. So speaking of a body, unrealistic body standards, what do you think of the Kim Kardashian uh, weight loss?
I think that if it's healthy for her to be that size, then fine. But based on what I've seen of her, I think what's happening there, it's almost like she's in a competition with her sister Chloe, who, I don't know if you remember, way back, maybe like the late 2000s. Chloe was not, she wasn't even big. Like I think she was just big because she's standing next to Petite Kim and Petite Courtney.
Relative to the tiny little ones, yeah, that she's
Yeah. So
in her
obviously,
family.
no matter how healthy you are, because she was a pretty slim girl to begin with, right?
Mhm.
She got on a weight, not a weight, a health kick and a workout kick. And it to me, she's scary thin right now, right? And I feel, and there was a blurb on social media where they were showing a clip from their Kardashian show where Kim was saying to Chloe, "Oh my gosh, you're like so skinny these days. You're like almost anorexic." Like, but not in a
Mhm.
negative. She was saying anorexic as if like it's something to be proud of, and it's a
Right.
standard
Well,
that
that's why like there's concern over it, right? Because of they're saying now that they're bringing back the whole heroin chic and like the anorexia that was rampant in the 1990s. The super thin, real thin, sickly
Mhm.
looking thing, and there's still women are always struggling with their body, and their body image. And now you have this where I think it's triggering a lot of people who have eating disorders, who had eating disorders, because
And
now
quite
it's like,
honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Kim was in that camp where she maybe had some sort of eating disorder herself, because, or she has some, I think maybe, or maybe a body dysphoria, whatever that's called too, where
yeah, yeah, yeah.
she still thinks she's a bigger size, like, because like she's even gone to, um,
Do you know
taking
what I think it is?
what?
I think what it is she lost weight and she
Hmm.
liked the way she looked.
Hmm.
And then I think that's what happens. You go and it snowballs into something. You're like, oh, I
Right,
lost more
but
weight.
what she's
But
doing
lose a
now,
little
that
bit more weight, I'm going to look even better.
right,
Sorry,
and
go ahead.
what she's doing now is she's liking where she's at so much, right? Because with the whole, here's the thing, she wanted to fit in Marilyn Monroe's dress and she wasn't able to do it. And I think that probably was mentally like, oh my God, I can't fit into Marilyn Monroe's dress.
Yeah,
And she's the standard of beauty. And she was a
people
size
have
14.
speculated that for
And
sure.
I
Yeah,
can't even fit into this size 14 woman's dress. And, like, but I mean, she was a
yeah.
1950 size 14, which is very different than what is a
Well,
14
not
now.
even that. It's a completely different body type too. Like,
Right.
why are you even trying to?
Marilyn Monroe did not have butt injections.
Yeah. And the other
You know,
speculation is that she may have had what they call like what is it, like a mini sleeve or something, like the that it's not a gastric bypass, it's not a full like sleeve that they do for the weight loss, but it's like a mini one that apparently is
hmm.
like the rage now and people are getting it, so people are speculating maybe she has something like that done.
Well, I mean, she said that her
Hmm.
routine changed drastically when this Marilyn Monroe dress thing happened. She went on like a crash diet with no carbs, no sugar, like
Yeah,
completely
and
cut
people
out
criticize
anything.
her for that because yeah, because she was making that public and act like singing in such a way like it's a thing, right? It's something to aspire
Well,
to.
and
So
then she was working
she,
out excessively for hours a day in one of those heat suits, to help her burn calories and lose water weight and whatnot. And when people called her out and saying it was toxic of her to promote that
yeah.
kind of quick weight loss, she was like, "Well, if I was an actor and I was doing it for a role, you guys would be praising me, right?" But I think she's feeling herself so much with this weight loss now that everywhere she's going now, she's wearing crop tops. So much so that she went to a Hilton Christmas party. Everybody's dressed up in Christmas outfits, and she's there with a crop top and leather pants.
Oh wow,
Yeah, because she's
wow.
got to show off those abs she works so hard on.
And like really, it sounds like a textbook case of anorexia. Like it's heading in that direction, and that's what they say. If you read on about any of like those pro ana forums and stuff that people who suffer from eating disorders end up frequenting or sometimes get sucked into the vortex of it. These pro ana websites apparently they talk about these things. They talk about I guess these like-minded individuals go there and they talk about the routines and they talk about how little they eat and the thinspo and then they talk about how much they exercise and every chance they get they'll try to do something to burn a calorie. Like it
Yeah,
becomes like it takes over your psyche, right?
yeah, and I've heard that with a lot of people who have gone through a big weight loss. They do tend to get focused extremely on what is going into their bodies and how much exercise they're doing. And I'm gonna get a little bit personal here. Um, so I had a baby, and before I got pregnant, I had been on a weight loss journey. I got pregnant
Mm-hmm.
and I had to reconcile myself
Really
with the fact.
sorry, not to think a moment with you, but were you actually on the weight loss journey or were you just on a diet? So I'm just poking fun because I feel like everybody now, when we used to just call it simple diet, is I'm on a journey. Why does everything have to be a journey?
Because life is a journey, biatch, okay? It's a
Okay, all
journey.
right, okay.
It
So
was a journey.
go
I was
on.
eating better. I wasn't dieting. I was changing my lifestyle. I was doing the gym. I was exercising. I was making changes, right? And then when I got
Okay.
pregnant, some of the changes did include restricted calories, right? So I had to increase my calorie intake um, slightly because despite what people say, you are not eating for two, you're eating for one and some, right? So I did end up increasing my
Right.
calorie intake a little bit. Um, and I had to really mentally get over that hump of, oh my gosh, my
Right.
body is gaining weight and it's healthy weight. It's a baby. You're gaining blood volume and you're gaining amniotic fluid and you're gaining like a little person. It's not
Sorry,
all
give me 1 second, okay?
sure.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So I had to get over the fact that I wasn't and I wasn't gaining unhealthy weight, but it still messed up my psyche, right? It still messed me up psychologically. And I have heard that people I haven't been able to get back on my journey yet, by the way.
Hmm.
um I just haven't been able to mentally get myself there again. But you know what? Maybe in the new year I'll do with everybody else for New Year's, and we'll see my resolution. We'll see how long. I'm guessing maybe 3 or 4 days into New Year's, I'm gonna fall right back off the wagon. But yeah, no, I've heard where people go through this weight loss and they get complimented and oh my gosh, you lost so much weight and you look so good, and mentally they just it takes over because they're terrified of eating something that's off of their diet. That's why a lot of people who are losing weight or try
There's a
or
thing for it. What is it called? Orthorexia or something like that?
I don't know. I've never.
Basically, what it is, it's like an obsession with eating clean.
Yeah,
And basically, you scrutinize everything that you put into your body, and it's it's on another level.
yeah, and some people even take it so far as that they only eat the same thing all day, every day. So they'll do their meal prep for the week, and they'll every week will be the same thing because they know exactly how many calories are in that food, right? And they know
Yeah.
exactly what they have to do to burn it, and what exercises they have to do for how long they have to do it in order to net out that food.
Oh, speaking of, I don't know if you've heard of this, but there's actually a product. It's called, I think, Soylent or something like that.
Okay.
And that's for people. I don't know if it's necessary for people who are trying to like lose weight or control whatever, but I think it's targeted more towards like the ultra like minimalist, like they don't want to have to worry about, and the people who don't actually enjoy food. But what it
Mm,
is, it's a drink, I guess, or something that you drink is supposed to have like all the micronutrients and everything that you need in a drink,
Slim
and that's all
fast.
you do is you just drink this thing. No, well, it's not. It is a meal replacement, but it's basically that's all you're having, and it's supposed to be a complete nutritionally sound whatever, and it's just so you don't have to
Mhm.
think about cooking, you don't have to think about this, you don't have to think about that. And I could imagine somebody with an eating disorder getting totally on board with that, because they could have like ultra ultimate control.
Do you know what? I will admit, I have looked at my dog a few times and said, you're eating
Don't
this
tell me you
food.
want to eat your dog.
No,
I'm
I was
joking.
looking at
I'm
my dog's
joking.
coat and saying, your coat is so shiny. You have so much thick, healthy fur. You're good size weight and all that. Maybe they should make something like that for humans. So you eat your dog food equivalent every day and
Yeah,
it helps maintain and gives you all the nutrients you need. It has occurred to me, and it also occurred to me that way because in addition to like whatever the body stuff aside, like if it's going to keep you healthy, because people are so obsessed with their pets being healthy, they don't take that same obsession on themselves.
oh,
Maybe
I
they
know somebody. I know somebody. Oh my God, I have to interject. I'm so sorry, but I know somebody who was so strict when they were dog owners. They used to cook for their dogs, or they used to put them on the raw food diet, like clean, clean, clean for the dog. And they had kids, and oh my goodness, it's just junk food all around. And I'm like, wow. So for your dogs, you'll do that, but for your own kids, you feed them garbage. I
You
was
know
just like,
why?
okay,
Because it goes back to again, the dogs will eat it, the kids will turn up their noses at it. So you know what? Just
I'm sorry,
and plus
I don't agree. I'm telling you, the dogs will try their luck, and if you give in, they won't eat it. Because I know I had a dog who would look at his food until he was absolutely certain he's not getting anything else, and until he was starving practically, right? Then you look
Mhm.
fine. I'm gonna eat my food. And same thing with kids. They're gonna be finicky, whatever. And then you know what? When they're hungry, they're gonna eat.
Um,
We
I'm
didn't have this problem 50 years ago, my darling.
yes,
Tell me, was
but
this an issue
my
50 years ago?
yes, but my middle son, he's a little bit more on the stubborn side, and I think it has to do a little bit with personality. There's definitely a bit more of leeway that was being given with my son, my middle son. But I will say that just in general, where with my daughter, I would have been able to say, okay, take one more bite and then you can be done. With my son, he'll clamp down that jaw, and if you try to get him to take that one more bite, he will throw it back up. Right? So there, it sounds cut and dry, and I'm sorry, I love you, Eva, but I will say that that type of sentiment usually comes from people that do not have kids. And when faced with reality, they do turn into that person who fed their dog organic, raw food diet, but then turn around and give their kids junk. It's just, it is what it is. Because
I,
you know what wins? You know what ends up winning in the end? Life ends up winning. When you're doing the rat
I
race and
get that. I get that. And you pick your battles, right? Especially when you have kids and when you have life going on and it's stressful and everything, you pick your battles. I just
yes,
think
$100%.
there's some extremes that are not acceptable. Like there was those shows. I remember what show it was. I think where they
Maury,
had these. It could have been more.
Maury,
I don't know.
let me tell
And
you, let me
where
tell
they
you.
had these.
Okay, so they would have like these kids who are like 5, 6 years old and they weigh like 120 pounds, and they'll be like, oh, but my child wanted 3 extra Big Macs from McDonald's and I had to give it to them. No, you didn't. You're just
Well,
choosing
it
to
was
do that
anyway.
stuff.
Well, it was this one show that I don't think it was Maury, but it was on the same vein. And then the doctor basically said, "You're telling me that the 5-year-old or 6-year-old is taking your car keys and driving himself or herself to the grocery store to pick up the junk food? Is that what you're telling me?"
Or actually, we're not supposed to be shaming people because I don't want to do this, but you know those like 600, 700 pound people again on Maury. You know, Maury was part of my childhood. Can't lie.
Yeah.
On Maury, they're so big that they have to take a truck trailer to like a
Yeah.
forklift to lift them off and put them on the truck thing to weigh them and whatever. And they'll go through, okay, so what is it that you're eating in a day? Let's break it down and see if we can help you. And they'll be like, I eat 3 pounds of bacon and I eat 6 dozen eggs and I drink like 4 glasses of four no jugs of orange juice and that's my breakfast. Okay, maybe that's the problem.
Well, that's okay. At least you're admitting it. What I love is when you that showed 600 pounds life and where is this Doctor Now or whatever his name is. People are like that 600 pounds and they're saying, "Oh, I barely eat anything." It's like, come on, you don't get that size by not eating. And the thing is this: what I'm gonna say is, it's not about shaming when you're that weight, but what it is it's morbid obesity, and at the end of the day, it's a mental health issue. It's untreated mental
Okay,
health.
so
Whether
let me
it's
ask you something.
and it's not don't it doesn't it's not about shaming. It's a matter of fact. Like it's a mental health issue where you have something untreated. Either it's a food addiction that's untreated, or there's trauma, or there's something untreated, or there's unhealthy coping mechanisms or something that it is on a mental level, absolutely. And it's people don't get to that size just because they have an illness or underlying medical illness, or like for example they're not mobile. You don't get that way just from not being mobile. Or medication. There's some medications that will make you gain weight, but you don't get to that size just by medication. There is
Are we
underlying
talking
mental health
are
issues.
are we talking about like somebody who's like 200 pounds, or are we talking about the 600 pound people?
I'm talking about morbidly obese people. Morbidly obese.
Okay.
Because a medication will listen. Medication will make you gain maybe an extra 40 pounds or something like that, right? And most
Mm-hmm.
of us have that carrying around with us. On average, most people have at least that, right? If not a little more.
Right.
Um, but when you have, when you're in that or what they call like death fat territory,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, like there is no other explanation for it. There's just not a calorie deficit. unfortunately, and there's an underlying issue that's not being treated. You know, whether by
Okay,
choice
so
or whether by
I have a
whatever
question for
it
you. I
is.
have a question for you.
And it's not about
Okay.
shaming. It's about calling a duck a duck, right?
So I was watching another person. I don't know if I should say their name or not. They were discussing Lizzo, right? And
Yeah.
they were being so negative about her to the point where they were actually making fun of her for her size, right? Now, both of these women, they're well known on YouTube. They're on the slimmer side. I guess they take care of themselves, or they consider, or maybe they're just lucky. Maybe their metabolism is good. Maybe it's just good genetics, whatever it is. Um, but one of the things, Lizzo did a commercial for DoorDash, or there's one of those types of services. And she's apparently vegan. And they were making fun of her veganism and saying that there's no way that she could be vegan and be the size that she is. Then they
Oh hell
also,
yes, you can. Oh my
then
goodness,
hold
that's a
on, wait,
load
wait,
of
wait.
crap.
Then they
Did
took
you
a
see some of
look.
the vegan products out there?
Hold
Did
on, wait,
you
wait, wait.
see some of the? Listen, you can be vegan and eat all like cookies and all kinds of junk and still be vegan. So
Well, this is what they
veganism
did.
has
They
nothing
took
to
a
do with health
look at what it is
or
that
weight.
she put in the cart on this delivery service, and there was things like Skittles and Oreos,
That's
and there was like one Beyond Meat or something like that. So then, on top
there
of
you
making
go.
fun of what?
There you go. That's what I mean. You can totally be vegan and eat complete crap.
Right. So, but then on top of it, so then they started to break her down even more, right? And they were saying, oh, well, there's no way that Lizzo could possibly be happy being the size she is. There's nothing. She's just walking through life pretending to be happy and pretending to be confident. There's no way she could be happy. And
You know what?
felt offended. I
I
felt
see that.
upset about that.
No, I don't. You know why? I see that argument all the time and I get it. Because ultimately, you'd be hard pressed to really find somebody who is truly happy with themselves.
Hmm.
Okay? And they
Hmm.
don't have to be a Lizzo size. They don't have to
Yeah.
be. There's always something that we're not happy with ourselves. And I'm sorry, if you're overweight, I know when I'm overweight, I don't feel happy about it. No amount of telling myself about body positivity, this and that. I know the truth. You're still trying to
Right.
gloss over it. And no, there's no way she's happy at her size. I'm sure anybody at that size would rather, if they had a choice, if they could flip a switch, they would flip that switch, and they would absolutely not be. That wouldn't be their best option, or that would be their number one choice to be at that size. So
I
as harsh as it may be, and maybe the way they presented it, it may have not been so kind. However, I think that when you break it down again, you break it down and you take the fluffy feelings out of it. It's the truth.
I think
Like when you're
that
like
it doesn't
when
matter.
you're
I
not
think
at your
honestly, I think it doesn't matter what
are
size
you
you're
at your
presenting.
goal weight? Like are you personally at your goal weight?
Hell no. I just
Okay,
gave
are
you a
you
whole
would you,
spiel.
okay, but are you happy? Are you happy at, or would you, if you had the choice, you have a goal weight you'd rather be at, right? If you had the
Of
choice, you'd
course.
rather be at your goal
Yes.
weight.
Yes,
Right.
but I don't think,
I
and
I I can see the
the
same.
way that they presented it though is that she wakes up unhappy, hating life just because of her size, right? And she has to be depressed. I think they were being
No,
like
I mean
they were just,
that's again, like I said, I think they were cruel about it, and I
yeah.
think they went on extreme of it. They could have said the point without, you don't need the meanness factor in on it, and there's tact and diplomacy, but that's not going to sell, right? So they have you know,
Like
to bring the
yeah,
claws
and
out,
quite honestly, like if they were to say to her like, okay, well maybe she's not happy with her size and she's going to take steps to do something about it for her,
Yeah.
not because of the people. Like, okay, so there was this comedian, right? And he isn't small either. He looks like he's rocking a bit of a gut himself, and he
Yeah.
shredded her, and he said something along the lines of, well, you know what, I'm funny because he's a comedian, so I still get the P, right? But there's no way
Uh-huh.
she gets the D because she's just
Oh,
not
well, yeah.
attractive.
she gets all kind of D, whatever, whatever. So that's that, whatever. I'm sure she gets more than that comedian does. But on that note, you mentioned the other point about confidence. I do think confidence does go a long way because I think if you do carry that extra weight and you do carry it and you are confident about it, there's a difference in that. Just like even on any size, if you have the confidence and you have good posture, you present yourself in a confident manner. Just if you compare, your two versions of yourself walking down the street, one with your head down and one with your head up, the confidence will matter. So for sure, Lizzo having the confidence, it probably irks some people saying, "Oh, well, she shouldn't be confident." Well, no, I disagree
because
with that.
so because she's not the beauty standard. So
What I'm saying is
she
that
shouldn't love
deep down
herself at
inside,
all.
no. See, what I'm gonna say is I think they're again, it's kind of like trying to sell drama, right? But I think what it comes down to is the truth is somewhere in the middle, where is I think most people who are not at their goal weight are not 100% happy within themselves. Like they would like to be at a different weight, and they would
Okay,
be
so
happier with their
let me
appearance.
ask you something
However,
then. Let me ask you
yeah,
something. Do you think, right, that if there wasn't these pictures in the magazine or models being tiny and Kim Kardashian and the Kardashian family walking around making you feel like less than because of your size, do you think body shaming and the need to or the unhappiness that people feel in themselves, do you think that would exist without that?
yes,
You
I
think
think it
so?
would. Maybe not. Yes, but not maybe not to the degree. Again, it's not about you can't go black and white. I'll give you an example. Even in the animal kingdom, the visuals of for attracting a mate are there, and there are certain standards. Like that's why you have peacocking. You have the peacocks, the birds who try to impress the female with their fancy things. And I think being being animals or humans ourselves, there is a ideal weight that is meant for the human body or that's meant for animal body. Like for example, you look at a dog, if the ribs and the backbones and everything is sticking out, you can obviously see the dog is underweight. Same thing. If you see a dog with the stomach dragging on the ground, you know that dog is overweight, and it's not an ideal weight. And the thing is, the human eye is trained to be naturally. It's a biological thing where you're attracted to what is in the realm of normal and what is in the realm of fertile, right? To attract a mate.
Okay,
So when you see
so
somebody who's
let
not
me
in
tell
shape, and
let me tell you.
I'm talking about
Let me
averages here, okay? Because I'm not talking about people who have, very unique sensibilities and preferences. I'm not talking about
no,
that
no, no,
because
no, no.
there's that
What I
also,
want to
right?
ask you is that there are certain parts of the world where a bigger, more voluptuous size becomes synonymous with wealth and therefore becomes more attractive. But we're talking what? Just about more um northern North American standards or European standards? Like what are we going with here?
Well, I think those there's only a few places in the world that have that. Where is it? I don't know. I want to say Mali, but it's not. I don't know where they do actually. They have one where they have a tribe somewhere in Africa where the bigger the man's belly, the more malleable he is. There's another place where
Gotta lift it
they
up.
actually almost send the little girls to like fat camps to fatten them up because they're more again they're more marriage material the fatter they are. But again, those are the exceptions and not the rule. And I think that's what we need to stick to because I think that the obsession with being skinny is not a North American thing. Because when you look at it, you have a lot of these ideals across Europe, where Europe the sizes are even smaller than North America, right? Like you can
Hmm.
just see by European sizing. Like a 14 in the UK is I think maybe like a 10 or a size 8 in the US or something like that,
Well,
right?
I do
Just so you
know
know.
that Kourtney Kardashian size 4 is actually an 8 in the UK because they said that in the article.
Well, that's kind of like,
She
and also
probably
like
died
the
a little
scientists
in.
have changed. Hold on, that's the same people who try to claim that Marilyn Monroe was plus size because she wore a 14, without considering the fact that a 14 back, 50, 60 years ago was a completely different size than what it is today
Yeah.
because of vanity sizing, right?
Yes. They don't want
So
you to have
back
to
to your
pick up a
question,
piece
right?
of clothes that says size 22 on it.
Yeah. Could you imagine some of those sizes would be probably in the 40s?
Well, you know what? Speaking of, like, there was some. They're taking measures. A lot of clothing companies are taking measures to be more inclusive in their sizing. And
Yeah.
no matter how inclusive these sizes are, there are still people complaining that it's not inclusive enough. I think it's
Oh
Melissa
yeah,
Hart.
I saw something.
She had
Yeah,
clothing
I was
line.
just gonna say
It
that.
went up to like size 3X or something like that. And
And
people were
she's not
complaining.
inclusive enough.
No. And Old Navy, they had done a campaign with like um, different body types wearing the jeans in the ad. And I think in the stores they had up to a certain size, which might have been, again, let's choose 3X just for the sake of saying it, and their
Yeah.
sizes do tend to run bigger to begin with, right? um, and
Mhm.
people were upset because if you're a 5X or a 6X, you can't go in the store, you have to order online. Well, I mean, I guess what happens is that these places, especially retail, you can only cater to so much and you have to put what's going to sell, right? And you can't
Yeah.
carry sizes in your store if they're not going to be able to move, but online you could reach anybody.
Right. Yeah, and it's
So,
not like places like Torrid or wherever they where they specialize in those sizes, right? And
mhm.
yeah, the other thing is that I'm sure if you're at that size, when you're so out of the range of the average, um, there's nothing wrong with expecting you to have to uh custom order your clothes. Like, do
I
you
think
think?
so.
Like,
I
no,
think
hold on. For example, do you think Shaquille O'Neal can walk into Sports Check or Foot Locker or wherever and buy himself a pair of shoes? No, they're not going to carry his size,
no.
and they're not. That's not being not inclusive. It just means that his foot size is so outside of what the average is that he will have to go to a specialty store or custom order something in. That's just makes sense. Like I, like
I guess with those
there's
people, what their beef is the fact that you can walk into a store and you can
and
find double.
hold on, and Shaquille can't change the size of his feet, but those people can sure the hell lose weight. What I'm saying
Do
is
you
it will be
think it's
possible. I'm
that
not saying
easy?
it's not or no, I didn't say that. What I'm saying is it's possible, right? It's possible to either whatever by whichever means there's a possibility of losing weight, but Shaquille O'Neal would literally have to chop off his toes to make his foot smaller. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yes.
he doesn't have the option of going on a diet. He doesn't have the option of getting gastric bypass or doing a couple extra laps on the treadmill. Like he doesn't have that option. His shoe size is his shoe size. Like that's just it.
Mm-hmm.
There's no
Yeah.
choice in there. Now, if you want to call that shaming, that's shaming because that's something you have no control over.
Agreed. Well, what do you think about Martha Stewart and Vera Wang? Martha Stewart taking naked pictures in the bathtub for her 80 something birthday, and Vera Wang posing in a bikini for her 70 something birthday, and just getting all the accolades and praises again for being so brave and looking so amazing at their age.
Do you know what? I'm
What?
old school. I
Yes.
think we should very much take those pictures. Take them. Absolutely take them. But the thing is this take them as your personal boudoir photos to keep for you and your significant other or for you to boost your confidence. Don't take them to plaster it on social media or whatever wherever else. You know what I mean? I'm not saying
So,
that as a woman, I'm just saying a woman in general, especially when the more you mature, the more I'm not saying that you should very well feel sexy and you should be proud and you should very well love it and you earned that. You earned, you know, for you every gray hair and every wrinkle on your body and every sag and everything, you damn well earned that. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. However, and this also goes for me, like I said, I'm a little bit old school because I also think that it's not appropriate for what's going on Instagram and all these young girls when I see them completely exposing everything to the point where it's like, well, why are you even wearing clothes at this point? Like why? Why bother? I'm more of like a I find that there's something to be said for a little bit of modesty. I'm more in the school of thought that I think it's nice when you have leave something to the imagination. I don't feel like you need to put everything on display, and especially not for the whole world to see. Um, and I feel like the internet is forever, so you should be mindful of what you put out there. And especially if you're a celebrity, like you have more eyes on you, so the more you should be critical of yourself,
So
of what you
do
present to
you
the world.
think that Martha Stewart gives a shit at the age that she's at if anybody has anything to say about her bathtub picture? And for the record, she's
Honestly,
probably
I
almost
can,
40.
I'm not saying. Listen, all I'm gonna say is this: I personally would never do that. Okay, that would be up my alley. However, I feel at that age, girl, do you? You know what I mean? But don't be surprised when you get opinions, because opinions are like, you know what they say, right? So I think that,
Yeah.
but I do think like you've earned it at that point, and I think the older, even the older I get every year, the less I give a flying anything about what people think, right? But I mean, there's still a level of self critique, and there's still a level of way you want to present yourself to the world, right? So just because I don't necessarily care what other people think, or I'm going to do what I want and whatever. There's still that part of me that I wanna have a way of presenting myself, despite, and it has nothing to do with what other people think in their opinions. That's just the way I want to present to the world. You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
Do you know what? I think if I looked like Vera Wang, I probably would be rocking a bikini and showing it off at her age too. Just saying.
Well, it's
I
funny. I was one of my sisters once said to me, and this was years ago. She's like, "Man, if I knew that my body was gonna go downhill, like at this age, I would have been wearing a bikini through all my teens and 20s and everything, right?" And you know what,
yeah,
Madeline? You know what's sad is that especially for women, and I've heard this so many times where um women, they're so insecure when they're younger, especially when they're 18, and then especially through the 20s, they're so insecure, and then they get older, and then when they become, like when they become in the 40s, they look back and they're like, oh my goodness, if I could just have appreciated myself for how beautiful I was back then. Instead, I spent those years critiquing myself, criticizing myself. I was never good enough. Oh, I wasn't skinny enough. I wasn't this enough. I wasn't that enough. Meanwhile, like you
you were as
compare
perfect
yourself.
at that point.
Yeah, yeah. But then you know what? There's also beauty about like the aging. I feel like when I see women in the 40s and 50s too, and they carry themselves well, there's a certain like beauty about it too, and that. And again, we want to go talk about confidence, and you see these women, they're more sure of themselves, and that confidence comes across, and they're settled in their skin. There's something to be said for that as well, and that only comes with age. So you know what, very rank, if that's how you want to present to the world, then go rock it. But I mean,
Yeah.
people are gonna have opinions as long as you're fine with that. If you're posting it online, that's all I
I
have to say
think
about that.
she's fine with those opinions because she's done it, and I'm pretty sure she's gotten like 90% praise and maybe like a couple people saying she shouldn't, you know? Same thing probably with Martha Stewart. Same thing with people like Shania Twain. Apparently, in her 50s now, she's doing quote unquote a nude photo shoot
And then
and
what
saying
about Madonna?
Madonna. No, I'm sorry, Madonna. Okay. No, Madonna is a train wreck right now. Okay. Back in the day, she was phenomenal. She was into like that hatha yoga or whatever it's called. She was like, I think she's vegan, maybe still. I don't know. But yeah, she had a smoking body. She was on tour. She worked a lot. She probably still, I think she still does work out and whatever, but oh my God, she's a hot mess these days. She is a hot ass mess these days.
I
And this is
I
not
I
a
think
body,
she's
this
the
is not a body shaming thing.
no,
She
no,
just
no.
looks like
You know what I
completely
think
out
it
to
is?
lunch.
I think she's an example of what happens to a narcissist when they get old. You know, when
I
you
don't
put
know if
so
it's
much of
necessarily
your
that. I think she's always been somebody to push the envelope. I think what's probably happened is because she's been silent for a good bit of time. I don't know if she's trying to hold on to her youth or if she's having like a midlife crisis. I mean, she's past midlife, but where she was looking back maybe and saying, you know, I used to be this and I used to be that, and she's not relevant anymore. And now she's come back and she's, yeah, just, oh man, somebody just needs to tell her, listen, lady, she's doing the same thing what Britney Spears is doing. Just, oh, there,
Oh, I'm sad for Britney Spears.
yeah,
She's
it's not
posting like,
hot. It's not, it's not fun
no,
to
it
look
looks
at.
desperate. It looks
Yes.
desperate. Like I just like I rarely go on Instagram, but I just scrolled through it. When was it yesterday? And it was like almost back to back posts from
Mhm.
her of her just like these like I guess supposedly provocative, whatever. And she's holding her chest, and obviously she's topless, and it was just and then her makeup is it's almost like she's got that slept in look makeup, and she's trying to that look she's going through, right? But it's
Yeah.
kind of I don't know. It seems like something's not right there. And I think I was saying this to you the other day, where I felt like you know some people are
She's
gonna feel like,
proving why she
what,
should have been in
there's never
conservatorship.
what a conservatorship was there, and that's sad. And I hope that's not where people go with it, because either way that's wrong. She's an adult.
Yeah.
If she needs some kind of help, that's a different matter. Get her help if that's the case. Otherwise, don't. No one needs to be under that. No,
Yeah, she's
no.
not constructively using social media right now.
No,
And
no,
neither is
no. But I
Madonna.
think that some of these celebrities, they need to be just their handlers need to take them away, like pull away those
Yeah.
accounts. It's sort of
Yeah.
like let's say you have a celebrity who completely who drunk text people or whatever, and then could you imagine somebody who drunk posts on Instagram and when they're drunk?
That sounds a lot like Kanye.
Is he actually intoxicated?
He, no, but the way that he
Off his
does,
meds, maybe.
yeah, the way that he puts up stuff on Instagram and Twitter and whatnot, it comes across the same way. Like, just, I had a thought and I'm gonna put it out there, but it's a toxic thought, and it doesn't matter that I don't realize it's toxic. So I'm, I think it's the same thing. They don't realize what they're actually saying and how this stuff looks and how it comes across. And
Yeah.
I don't think that they're listening to anybody in their camp. And quite honestly, I don't know if these camps are even telling them, you know, truthfully what's going on. I mean, some people surround themselves by yes people, and if they deviate from and try to tell them, out of love, maybe you shouldn't do this or maybe you shouldn't do that, they get rid of them. They put them out or say that
Yeah.
they're trying to, they're working for somebody else. They're not working for, you're not working for me. You're working for my ex-wife.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. I mean, I saw somebody on there's a YouTube creator who got to the point where she would go live while intoxicated, and it came to a head where she ended up, I guess, flashing.
Oh
And that's
wow.
against in terms of service for YouTube, right? Do that on Twitch or wherever else, but not on YouTube. And yeah, she ended up going to rehab. She's, I think, still in rehab right now.
Wow. Maybe.
I
So
mean,
is
I
that what
guess.
I should do? Should I have a couple drinks and flash our audience?
Well, I mean, I saw like she was a reaction channel to that train wreck girl that I told you about, and she was reacting, and there was the one reaction where she was literally like she took a flower vase and was drinking her wine out of a flower vase.
What people won't.
Like it was that level.
Yeah.
So anyway,
So
I don't know.
thinking it's that time.
Okay, yeah, we just passed the hour mark, so I think we're looking good.
Yep.
I'm not sure. We'll see if we can go live this afternoon, or we're not going to.
I think maybe this afternoon we can have one of our conversations that we have in our usual format.
Okay.
I think that could work.
All right. Okay then. Well, nice to see everybody here, and I think we discussed we touched on quite a few topics, more than we intended. But that's
For sure.
usually what happens, right? We kind of go off the rails.
One thing
So
always leads to another. So make sure that you like us and you subscribe
yeah,
and you hit that notification bell so you can see
yeah. There you
more of
go.
Roxy and Eva and Real
Yeah,
Talk
I
Lounge.
don't know where it is, but do it.
Yeah.
All right, ding ding.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
All
I'll
right.
be
So then, let's see. Sorry.
I said I'll be signing off
Go
now.
ahead.
Bye.
Okay. All right. We'll see you. Okay. All right. We'll see you soon. Okay.
Bye.
Bye, Roxy. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. Thanks for stopping by, and please comment. What are your thoughts? I think some of the ideas may be controversial for some people. I'm not sure if you agree or disagree, but like always, feel free to comment and let's have a friendly conversation. Just keep it respectful and let's go from there. So again, thank you for joining us, and please come back again and see us soon. Okay, take care. Bye.